Welcome to the Den, the Dark Entertainment Network. I'm the Gothic Rose, and this is the dark tale of the day. Let me take this moment to reintroduce myself. I am the Gothic Rose, hostess of the Dark Entertainment Network. This is a channel where the news meets conspiracy theories and makes babies in my brain, and it comes out my mouth. I do this because I enjoy it. If you like this type of content, please follow along, because I'm not going to stop. Welcome back, dear fiends of the Den, as we continue the haunted history of Hollywood. And we are talking about the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and how they stopped representing actors at one point, and there was a time of confusion and challenge. So let's get into it. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, also known as the Oscars, was created in 1929. The first ceremony honored films between the years 1927 and 1928, and this is at the height of the silent films. So the film Wings was the only silent film to win Best Picture at the Oscars because the rise of the talkies quickly overshadowed silent films, and it marked a big shift in the industry. So, like I said, the Academy was initially formed to represent various branches of the film industry, including actors, but it wasn't really a labor union. So, this led to the creation of the Screen Actors Guild, SAG, in 1933 because the actors sought a self governing organization to address their specific needs and rights. So there was a 6-year gap between the Academy's founding and SAG's establishment. So what happened was during this time, the film industry was transitioning from silent films to talkies. And this was a very challenging time for actors because there were lots of opportunities created, but also there were lots of opportunities lost for many of these performers. So there were so many silent film actors that struggled to adapt to the new medium because their voices or acting styles didn't always translate well to sound films. Mary Pickford was one of the very few silent film actresses who moved over into the talkies, and she's won awards and had an incredible career. I've spoken about her at length, and she was just one of the most impressive women in Hollywood and one of the first founding members of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. But the other issue that was happening was the Great Depression began in 1929, and this had a significant impact on the entertainment industry. So what studios did, like in any other recession, is they implemented salary cuts, but these were drastic salary cuts, sometimes up to 50% of their pay. And actors faced harsh working conditions, including long hours and limited protections. So the Academy, while representing various branches of the industry, was not technically a labor union. They could not effectively advocate for the actors' rights. So all of these challenges, combined with growing dissatisfaction among actors, eventually led to the formation of the Screen Actors Guild in 1933. So SAG provided a platform for actors to collectively bargain for better wages, working conditions, and protections. So this was a big turning point in the entertainment industry. And this is why we saw the Writers Guild strike, the SAG-AFTRA strike, because a lot of these actors did not want AI to take over their jobs. They wanted better scale pay. There were a lot of things going on. And although some things in Hollywood, I think, are slightly outrageous, they do put a lot of money, time, effort, all these things into pieces of art. So yeah, they should definitely have protections for that. So during this 6-year gap in the 1920s, when silent films were the rage, There really were long hours, grueling work conditions, and very restrictive contracts. The studios wielded immense power. They often controlled every aspect of an actor's career and personal life. And this lack of protection for the actors led many of them to be vulnerable to exploitation. And this is where so many of the secrets of Hollywood, I believe, were born. This is why the lavender marriage exists, because they controlled everything. They were like, well, we don't care that you're a gay man or a gay woman. You are a famous heartthrob and need to marry this person and be the power couple in Hollywood. This goes all the way back. So, one of the most infamous scandals of this era, it includes one of my favorite actors during this time and one of my favorite movies. So, this was the case of Boris Karloff during the filming of Frankenstein. In 1931, Karloff endured a grueling 25-hour shoot in heavy makeup and costume, which took a toll on his health. He filed a complaint with the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, highlighting the lack of safeguard for actors. Additionally, the 1920s and 1930s were rife with Hollywood scandals that exposed the darker side of the industry. Now, we're going to talk about later on Fatty Arbuckle and his trial in the 1920s that shocked the public and highlighted the lack of accountability in Hollywood. Now, this isn't quite directly tied to this 6-year gap, but these scandals, I guess they underscore the need for representation and protection for these actors. So, this 6-year gap, this period of time was like a catalyst. It was a catalyst for change because actors began to recognize the importance of collective action. So, throughout the 1920s and these silent films, there was so much exploitation until 1933, the formation of SAG. This was a direct response to these challenges, and it marked a turning point in Hollywood's labor history. It's really an incredible thing because they had almost less than the vaudeville actors had during the vaudeville days. And even today, if you are a non-union actor trying to get your SAG-AFTRA card equity, trying to get, all of your ducks in a row to get that insurance, to get the union protection, you don't have that protection. I remember being non-union and on set for 16 to 20 hours for $75 with some low-class, creepy snake oil salesman guy saying he's an agent, asking you for $7.50 out of that $75 so he could get his commission. So, yeah, there's still, enough protections if you are in these unions. But if you're not, you're dealing with the same kinds of things that the vaudeville actors who did not have any representation dealt with. You are dealing with the same kinds of things that this 6-year gap between the Academy's protection and the formation of SAG happened to a lot of these silent actors. Besides Fatty Arbuckle, we have Charlie Chaplin, we have Douglas Fairbanks, we have the Marx Brothers. We have so many silent film actors who not only left their mark artistically, but have tons of scandals. We are going to get into all of them on the Haunted History of Hollywood here in the Den. Thank you so much to everyone who supports me here at the Dark Entertainment Network. If you enjoy this content, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell. And thank you for joining me in the Den.